years into your role as an HR department of one and you're asking yourself consistently, is this it? Is this all there is? You're working hard to keep up with your daily task. You're doing everything that you can to stay afloat, but you're also wondering, how is it that you're going to be able to get to that very next level? Today, we're talking about the benefits of using a guide, a coach, a mentor to take your career to that very next level. So let's jump into it. Hey, I'm Brittany, CEO and founder of Talented Teams Consulting, where I work with solo HR practitioners to help you to build your career with intention. I help you to go from being in chaos to being in more control. And that all starts with having a plan and being more deliberate with the actions that you take. On this channel, I talk mostly about career growth, and I talk specifically to HR professionals and solo HR practitioners who are serious about taking their career to the very next level and are serious about getting some traction in their career over the next 12 months. I typically go live once or twice a week in the evenings, and I post videos every single week throughout the week. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, share this video with your network, and tune in to future videos. My goal is for you to leave this video knowing what you need to do, how you need to think, and where you need to move within your career to get the traction that you desire. So if you don't already have something to write with, go ahead and grab that now. If you're connected with me on social media or you're a part of my email community, you've seen me talking about this book recently. And the book is called Who Not How. And it's a very great book. It's an easy read. I love listening to my books on Audible. However you decide to read your books or listen to your books, Who Not How is an excellent choice. So the premise is this. So mostly the idea is that it doesn't matter necessarily how to do the things all the time. Sometimes we don't want to focus on only how to do something, but maybe we need to find the who that can help us. So take a car. If my car engine goes out, sure, I can invest the time, I can invest my resources. I can probably figure out how to fix a car engine myself if I took long enough to do it. But a better use of my time would likely be to find someone who could fix it for me. So it's really a smarter way of thinking, a more strategic way of using your time, because time is very finite. We have a limited amount of time. We've got the same amount of time as everyone else, but the things that we can do with it is limited. So we want to make sure we're making the most strategic decisions when it comes to making any decision work, whether it's making dinner, fixing your car, building your career. This book has single-handedly changed the way that I think about life in general. Again, when it comes to making decisions for my family and making decisions for my company or making decisions where I work in my 9 to 5, I'm consistently thinking about, okay, Brittany, don't think about how you can do this yourself. Think about who can help you do this. Who can you delegate to? Who can get to assist you? Who knows more about this topic than you know? So again, at every stage of your career, there's going to be people who know more than you. So when you're starting out in your career, if you're an early stage HR professional, don't get so bogged down with trying to figure out how to know everything yourself. This is a perfect time to focus on who can help you to get to that next desired level. When I started my career in HR, I had the benefit of working under an HR manager. And not only was she my supervisor, but she was someone that I admired. She was someone that I modeled myself after. And even after I no longer worked under her leadership, I still found myself going back into things that she would do, maybe conversations that she would have, ways that she would move, and she really inspired me. But that inspiration only lasted so long. Eventually, I had to get to a place within my career working as an HR department of one where I had to realize, like, hey, I have to do this on my own. I've got to create my own systems. I've got to create my own processes. I got to make my own path for myself. I've got to build my own relationships with my teammates. So again, when you're in your career for an HR professional, you've got to understand that you've got to know how to navigate these spaces, but that doesn't always come easily. When I was in that place within my career, I remember seeking out ways to learn, seeking out people to learn from. And I really aligned myself within different employer groups. So local SHRM chapters, our local employer committee and things of that nature. But those spaces aren't really designed for mentoring. And those aren't designed for day-to-day support and really hand-holding in that nature. It's really more for networking. But I use those spaces for what it was good for at that time. So what I'm doing is I'm creating those spaces that I wish I once had, so that when you are navigating your career, if you're looking for support, if you're looking for ways to move forward, you have someone that's at your fingertips, that's within reach, that you can reach out to. I'm excited to have this conversation today because when it comes to choosing someone to help you to build your career, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. So we're going to be talking about what you need to be looking for when it comes to helping you to build your career with intention. Ask yourself, have they been where you are now? So it's one thing to find a coach who has maybe a general knowledge of HR, or a teacher or a professor who has a lot of instructional knowledge and book knowledge about working in HR. But have they ever been in your shoes? Have they ever been an HR department of one? Have they ever had a role where they were the only person in the department? They were the only person who was there to make those type of decisions. Maybe they didn't have the trust of their leadership team. Maybe they did have the trust of their leadership team, but they had to overcome other challenges. So again, when you're choosing an HR mentor, a career coach as an HR professional, especially when you're a solo HR practitioner, you really want to find someone who has been where you are. The value in that is that when you have your different struggles, when you have your different landmines, they'll be able to identify those with you, but they'll also be able to point out ones that you might not even realize you're coming up against. The benefit of having someone that's going to mentor you that has been where you are right now is going to help you not only with gaining their experience and building from their experience, but they're going to be able to help you to say, okay, well, listen, these are the tools that I use. These are the techniques that I use. These are the templates that I created. All those things are invaluable, because when you are working by yourself, oftentimes either you're working off of somebody else's plan, it's something else's schedule, or you're having to create certain things from scratch. And so if you have someone that's going to be able to help you to navigate those spaces with you, and they've been where you are, you can kind of use their career, their foundation as a launching pad for you to get to that next level as well. Beyond having just the experience of being where you are right now, ask yourself, have they also risen through the ranks? Have they also grown their career? If you're looking to have someone to mentor you, you want to be confident that they have also created that within themselves first. When you're working by yourself in HR and you rise through the ranks, that shows a lot about your tenacity. That shows a lot about your ability to think strategically. That shows a lot about your ability to be a value add and a business partner to your leadership team. And so it's one thing to rise through the ranks and you have a path laid out for you. For example, if you're a part of a 3-person HR team, you were once an HR assistant, there's also an HR generalist, and there's also an HR manager. And then when the HR generalist left, the HR assistant moved into that role. That's different than you are an HR assistant or an HR generalist at an HR department of one, and you got so great in that role that they created another level for you. And then you got so great in that role, they create another level for you. And you got so great in that role, they create another level for you. So again, it's different when you're talking about growing your career and rising through the ranks. When you do it as an HR department of one, that's different than if you do it hopping from job to job, or hopping from place to place, or just filling in where places weren't once there. So again, when you're considering who can help you to build your career as an HR department of one, look not only at their experience, but how have they built from their experience. And when you're able to do that in a single place, that's just a lot about not only how you are able to see things through from beginning to end, but also your ability to share how you did it with somebody else. Rising through the ranks in your career as an HR department of one does not happen automatically. So to do that, it shows that you are able to not only maintain your career, maintain your job, maintain the department, but you're also able to look forward. You're also able to look at the trends and see what's happening in the world, see what's happening in your community, what's happening within your employer base. And so I say all this to say, when you're considering mentors for you as an HR department of one, look at all of these things to really vet the experiences of those that you're looking to teach you. Next, you want to ask yourself, is this person approachable? Is this person easy to talk to? Is this person a good listener? Again, you want to have a coach, you want to have a mentor, you want to have a guide, whatever you want to call this person that you don't mind talking to and that doesn't mind talking to you. So like I said before, when I was talking about the fact that when I went into these spaces, I knew there were networking spaces. They weren't designed for mentoring. They weren't designed for coaching, and I used them for what they were meant for. So when you're looking for a coach, when you're looking for a guide, a facilitator, you really want to make sure that the person that you are looking to have in your corner is one that's easy to work with. Do you feel you're able to connect with this person? Do you feel this person will be nice to you? Believe it or not, that's a very underrated skill, to be nice and to be kind to people. It costs nothing to be kind, but you'll be surprised the number of people who feel a level of entitlement, or the people who feel that they don't have to be nice to people because they reach a certain level. When you are considering who's going to be your coach, who's going to be in your corner, especially when you're working as HR department of one, and I keep harping on this because I think it's so critical. You don't don't have the chance to really get it wrong. You really want someone that's going to be in your corner, someone that you like talking to, someone that's going to like talking to you, someone that's been where you are, that has risen through the ranks. And all these things really play into being able to help you to get to where you want to be next. And the last thing I want you to consider is ask yourself, does this person have the capacity to coach? So some people, they might be really nice, they might be really kind, they may have been where you are, they may have risen through the ranks, but they are pretty much at their limit, they're at their capacity. They're not in a place in their career where they're looking to mentor anyone else. They're not in a position in their career where they're confident enough to mentor someone else. And so don't impose yourself on anyone else if they're not in that space to do that. They might be very capable, but they might not be ready to do that just yet. So look out for someone who is responsive, who's attentive, who's easy to work with. Seek out people who are committed, who are available, who are inspired to reach back into the community of HR professionals and teach you to help you to reach the goals that you want to reach. When they have the capacity to teach you, when they have the capacity to coach others, you won't get anything that's rushed. You won't get anything that's pieced together. You won't get anything that's half-baked. You're going to get something that's fully intentional. You're going to find something that is very put together and realistic. Again, when you're trying to build your career, you don't want to hodgepodge it together. You want to make sure that you're doing it on purpose and with purpose. So when you find your HR Department of One career coach, find someone who's going to help you set clear expectations, realistic expectations, and they're going to help you to get further and further down your career path with every single iteration. So a little about me. When I started my career in HR, I was not an HR Department of One at that time. I started out as an unpaid HR intern. So I wasn't even really on the books. It was really a college assignment. And so, but through that, I went from an unpaid HR intern to a part-time HR assistant, and I worked that role for about a year and a half. And then after I graduated from high school, I became an HR generalist, and I thought I had made it when I became an HR generalist. But then as an HR generalist, I was under the leadership of an HR manager, senior HR manager, and after about 4 months, she had to relocate overseas. And I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta find me another job. I was a recent college grad. I knew I did not know enough, or I felt I did not know enough to lead an entire HR department by myself. But sure enough, she moved overseas, and they didn't get rid of me. They wanted to kind of see how I played with things, or how things came along. And then, gosh, that was in 2010 when that happened, when she left. So then from 2010 to 2016, I was working by myself. And from that role, I moved from an HR generalist to an HR manager to a senior HR manager. And then in 2016, I ended up hiring an assistant. But she wasn't an assistant. I hired an HR representative to assist me. And so since then, it's been a long story long. But since then, not only do I lead HR with a department of 2 outside of myself, I lead 2 additional departments. I lead compliance and I lead training and learning. And I say all that to say, not only did I survive as an HR Department of One, I have thrived as an HR Department of One, and my career has taken me outside of the HR arena. So I enjoy teaching, I enjoy facilitating, I enjoy reaching back into the community, because I'm so inspired to help HR professionals to grow in this way. Because I remember so vividly how it felt when I was in HR Department of One, and I was like, there's no way my career can grow from here. In any other role, you're waiting for someone to retire and you're going to move into that role. And I felt limited. I felt capped out. I felt like there was no way I could grow until I took the limits off of myself. I said, okay, well, maybe, I'm in this HR department role. Okay, I'll create it for myself. I'll work into these roles. I'll make sure that my supervisor wants me to stick around. So of course they're going to create positions for me. So again, I say all these things to say, don't limit yourself. And when you have a coach, find a coach that does not limit you as well. Figure out ways to grow your career, even if they're non-traditional ways, even if they're new ways, even if it's never been done before. Let you be the first way. If you are serious about growing your career as an HR Department of One professional, and if you made it all the way through this video, I am confident that you are. I suggest 3 things for you to do. First, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. I've got videos coming out every week, multiple times a week, specifically talking to you as an HR Department of One. Second thing, get tuned into my community, whether you book a discovery call with me, whether you do my ongoing mentoring program, whether you get my Thriving HR Planner, but get tuned into my email community, to all these things to take advantage of the resources that I put out there for you. My biggest recommendation for you, if you are serious about taking your career to the very next level, you're serious about being able to either invest in yourself or get your company to invest in you because you're dedicated to the HR profession, is enroll into my next cohort for the SHRM HR Department of One Specialty Credential. If you've not heard of it, it's relatively new over the last few years. I teach on behalf of SHRM as an instructor, but I also teach it as part of my business Talented Teams Consulting because I know it's so impactful to the HR profession and specifically to solo HR practitioners. What I love about the SHRM HR Department of One Specialty Credential is that you're not just learning it to learn it, and you're not just learning it to pass the test. You're learning it because it's going to help you to know that you're focusing on the right things as an HR Department of One. So I'm not going to give too much away because you'll see more about it on the actual page if you click on it down below. But it's a few different components to it. There's an instructor-led component, there's an e-learning component, and then there's assessment at the very end. And if you do all of those three things successfully, you get your credential, your specialty credential that you can put on your resume, you can put on your LinkedIn profile, you can put it into your email signature, and just signals and signifies your seriousness to growing in your career, to mastering your role. The instructor-led portion is, of course, led by me, and it's for 10 hours of instruction time. So I typically break these 10 hours down over 5 nights, so 2 hours a night. And so click the link down below to get the timeline of what is going to be offered next, because we're going to be offering this throughout the years as well. I will suggest make sure you lock your time in soon, lock your space in soon, because it will fill up quickly. If you are serious about growing in your career as an HR Department of One, click the link in the description down below. You can learn more about that program. Reach out to me with any questions. And if I can serve you at a higher level, please never hesitate to reach back out. I'll talk to you in the very next video. Bye.